Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this month's member masterclass, which this month we're very happy to share with you that AI, one of the topics that's on the tip of everyone's lips these days. So very excited to spend the next 45 minutes or thereabouts learning a little bit more about AI, both globally and here, particularly in MENA. So just to clarify what the member masterclasses are all about, they're obviously an IAB MENA initiative that's focused very much on showcasing some of the learnings that our members have to the wider industry. So it's really about sharing knowledge, sharing insights, sharing future-facing views such as this one on AI, but using the knowledge and expertise of that particular company, in this case, AudioStack. So it's not a sales pitch. We're very clear that this is, there's plenty of opportunities in our lives to either sell or be sold to. This is not what this is about. This is really about learning from our peers. So we're very grateful for our members that come forward, in this case, AudioStack. So that's all I wanted to say from the IAB MENA point of view, other than to say thank you very much to AudioStack for making themselves available to set up the session and to share their knowledge on AI in marketing, and not just in audio itself. So thanks, guys, very much. Looking forward to the session, and over to you, Adam.
Thanks so much, Ian, and thank you to all for joining today's call. So exciting times, and we're getting into the detail of AI audio transformation, and going to share with you today some insights on AudioStack, but also some latest trends and how to navigate this big change in the industry. So hopefully you'll find today's session useful. So agenda for today. We're going to kick things off initially with a little bit of a quiz to warm the room up a little bit. So we look at the differences between a human advertising spot versus a synthetic spot. So we'll see if you can create and see the differences between the two. So look out for a little poll that's coming up. The next thing we'll look at is the state of AI and its impact on creative and media industries. And then number 3, we look at the AI transformation in 2025, specifically looking at MENA, so a deeper look there. And then to finally wrap things up, we look at the individual trends which are going to support these use cases going forward, which is some really great initiatives and use cases you can get your teeth into as an organization going forward. So let's start things off with a little quiz, shall we? So can you spot the difference? So let's get your fingertips ready. So if you can use the chat function, all I want you to do, keep it very, very simple. There's 2 different audio examples here. So one on the left, one on the right. I'm going to play these obviously in sequence. All I want you to do is in the chat box, write number 1, is it human or AI? Number 2, is it human or AI? So I'm going to play each of these segments. So hopefully we'll see if you can understand what this is. I'm just going to get this audio prepared now so we can.
So, George, starting the day with an espresso iced macchiato. How is it? Looks delicious. The virtual machine makes them perfect every time. That aroma of Ethiopia is... Yep, man, a few words. Great coffee can do that. Suggestions for festive gifts this year, George?
Nespresso. What else?
For festive treats for coffee lovers, visit Nespresso.com or click the banner.
Okay, there's ad number 1. That was all heard well. Yes, Ian, if you could say yes or no, it'd be great.
Yeah, that was good.
Great. Okay, and then number 2.
May I have your attention, please?
The countdown back to college is on with Amazon.
Things you might not want, but you're definitely gonna need. 3.
Lots of storage,
2.
a desk organizer,
1.
and a fresh new water bottle.
Be college smart with Amazon Prime Student.
Okay, so let's take a look at the answers. So I don't have a chance to look at the chat just yet as I'm sharing my screen, but hopefully you've participated, and I'm going to tell you the answer now. So number 2 was synthetic. Obviously it sounded absolutely amazing. And number 1 was a mixture. So it was a mixture between synthetic and human. So sorry, I put a little bit of a banana skin in there. But basically, we've got the first spot here that we listened to, the Nespresso spot, which is actually a mixture between human and synthetic. So I'm just going to play this through a little bit further because it's you'll hear some interesting insights here. Basically, our creative director, Sam, who's actually done a fantastic job supporting the build of this ad, he actually utilized his own voice, and we actually used a technology called speech-to-speech. And speech-to-speech basically allowed Sam to pronunciate his own voice, but then actually synthesize that with a female, and thus presenting what you heard at the start of the spot, which was this.
How is it? Looks delicious. A virtual machine.
So that is actually a 55-year-old man actually utilizing speech-to-speech technology, so you can actually hear his voice has been synthesized with a synthetic voice to create a female tone. The actual noises in between, which you hear, like he's actually really enjoying the coffee. So these little samples you hear.
A virtual machine makes them perfect every time. Is that a
that is Sam as well. So Sam has been used just to actually synthesize his voice, but also been used for the sound effects as well. You hear in there. If I roll this on a little bit further as well.
Visit Nespresso.com or click the banner.
So at the end, the espresso.com will click the banner. That was synthetic. So there's actually a mixture between synthetic voice, human voice, but we've also used a technology called speech-to-speech. In there as well, you also heard George Clooney. So George Clooney is still George Clooney, and we have the rights to actually utilize that asset to support this spot creation. So hopefully, I mean, nobody probably got that question right, but so apologies for the banana skin I threw in there, but I wanted to at least whet your appetite to allow you to see the power of this technology. And both of these ads actually went into full production and were broadcasted as well. So that there's definitely a pass mark there as well. Okay, so enough of the fun. Let's get into the serious stuff now. So we're going to now look at the state of AI and its impact on media industries. Just bear me 1 second as I reshare my page. Okay, so let's have a look at the state of AI. So this is a summary state of AI based on where we currently are in the world right now. So we're not looking at MENA just yet in specific terms. We're looking at the actual state of AI in a very, very generic, broad term. So we're looking at opportunities and risks of AI. But first and foremost, what we want to do is actually have a look at how this impacts creative industries, how we can utilize AI for growth, and also look at the risks that are incorporated into that as well. So as you can see here, there's an interesting stat which is all about generative AI and the increase in growth that we'll be seeing in comparison to 2023. So we've got 2.6 versus 4.4 trillion to the global economy. So to put this into perspective, UAE's entire GDP in 2023 was equivalent of 545 billion. So how is that increase going to actually happen? So the increase will happen based on a lot of the tasks that are done. So employ some of the tasks that are done on a day-to-day basis. So McKinsey predicts that GenAI will absorb tasks that take up to 60 to 70% of employees' time. So opportunities that come with this. There are a tremendous amount of opportunities that come with this naturally. This is what's going to stimulate the growth. But alongside this is going to be a lot of fear and trepidation naturally. So as a business, we're obviously seeing this, we're feeling this ourselves when we speak to anybody that are putting together creative production. There's this element of fear that, hey, this is going to replace my jobs, going to replace me. But ultimately, the way we look at audio production in specific terms, from our perspective, is we will enhance the audio production time, going back to my earlier point, which basically allows creatives to do more. So it will basically allow you to scale your audio production, and an example of that is allowing you to become more localized in your content that you actually deliver. So that's a great opportunity for us. I mean, there's campaigns that you could run across MENA, where, you know, if you look at the specific dialect nuances across the region, most of the campaigns are generally broadcasted in modern standard Arabic. But obviously, with the new technology that's now available, what this will present to you is the opportunity to get far more localized, utilizing AI, and also automate a lot of these marketing tasks or audio production tasks that you want to produce. So the creativity element is still going to be there. It's still important. It's still present, but you'll just be able to do a lot more, because the production time will be decreased by such a significant volume. Obviously, the risks that come alongside this, there are risks based on the fact that competitors could move faster than your organization. So the impact of a competitor moving faster would obviously be that there's a significant loss of revenue if AI adoption is not done. So really, we are in like the new age of the AI revolution right now. We're the early stages of that, but we've been experiencing AI over the last 2 or 3 years. I think it's now being absorbed more and more into our daily lives. You know, utilization of ChatGPT is the obvious example there. OpenAI, but there's so many new AI tools that are currently being used on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, there's a lot of risks that obviously are in there, but it's very, very, very important that businesses take AI digital transformation seriously, and at least educate themselves and have a plan in 2025, because this will really, really shake up the audio industry in itself. So let's have a closer look at MENA in particular. So we roll on to MENA. As you can see here, what I wanted to really evidence here is the regulations that are in place to support AI across some specific regions here. Obviously, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt. There's a specific focus I've put in here, but in general terms, this does actually cover the government's frameworks that we see across MENA. So I'll give you an example of Western governments that we currently have right now. The Western governments is there are some subtle differences, but there are a lot of similarities as well. So there's almost like a global framework in place which underpins AI governments in itself, but there's also more specific localization as well. And some of those are around data and data protection laws and governments. So it's very important to be aware of some of these things. Obviously the storage of data, GDPR, some of those elements are very, very similar. We'll have just a different name or tag to it. So I'll take you through very quickly just some of the different nuances that we see, and also some specific examples also within the countries that I've listed here. So the UAE, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia align with Western and AI regulations, but emphasize national security, data sovereignty, and government-led AI development. The US and EU focus more on transparency, industry competition, and independent regulation. So, as we see commonly across the Middle East markets in particular, everything is generally very much government-led. Whereas across the West, it's different. There's more independent regulations that govern that. I think, from my own personal opinion, that the governments across the UAE is actually stronger than the West. I mean, there's, when you're sharing of data, the data governance laws that allow you to share data from one country to the next are very prevalent in the US, whereas a lot of the data protection laws are a lot more stricter in countries like UAE and Saudi Arabia as well. There are heavy penalties in place as well if data governance and AI policies are not followed. So Saudi Arabia in particular, strict penalties for AI misuse and non-compliance with data laws, and that's all linked to their own national security. And then the EU, in comparison, They obviously have the EU AI Act and GDPR. Heavy fines are also imposed for that, but enforcement does vary from country to country. The US, in comparison, currently lacks a federal AI compliance law and relies on sector-specific regulations. So there's just an example of the variance differences from one country to the next. Okay, so let's move things on. So we're going to look at some of the AI trends now going into 2025. Okay, so we've identified 8 different trends, as I mentioned at the top of the call. These are the trends that we recognize are going to really shake up the industry. One thing we know is that AI is not going to go anywhere. It's only going to develop, and it's very, very important that this is now forefront of all of your minds, because the shake-up of AI is really going to transform the way we all do business going forward. So it's really important that some or all of these following points are taken seriously, and hopefully these elements for the digital transformation and AI transformation that's now starting to happen, you'll take that serious and start implementing within your own organizations as well. So I'll get into more specific details for each of these points. That was just a quick summary of each one there. So first of all, let's look at personalization and also programmatic. So we've obviously got a much higher rising demand of listener expectations, and based on that listener demand, this is also one of the key contributors that is pushing technology and AI. There's an expectation that users want to use AI, and that's actually forcing businesses to be quicker, be more personalized, and people want they want digital experiences faster. They have higher expectations, so the market needs to react to that, and whoever reacts quickest will win ultimately. So some of the specific examples that we want to look at here are the dynamic personalization. So, for example, we've got AI-driven playlists, podcasts, and voiceovers. So these are different interactions that you can utilize to enhance the engagement of the listener. And also looking at the targeting of data as well. Traditionally, we've always had lots of good data on which has been utilized for advertising purposes as an example. These sort of data-driven targeting examples can be utilized to create audio experiences for your customers. Where we're trying to get to with all this is some form of automation utilizing data. So where we can look at this is from a programmatic perspective. We've got great data. This data can be collated in a number of different ways, as we know. I know the cookie apocalypse has happened, but there's still enough data out there for us to understand what our users' preferences actually are. Using this data, we can actually shape our customer experiences and actually target our advertising, as an example, to our customer base. So if we an example for that would be that we have our targeted data, we can programmatically enhance the experience by utilizing some of the targeting metrics to understand the audience and basically give them a specific example of audio. That example could be an ad in Khaliji, an ad in Egyptian, or in any of the different dialects out there, or it might not be specific to the location. It might be specific to a promotion that you want to promote within a given time frame. All of these elements can actually be automated, and we're already seeing these being implemented across the industry right now. Okay, so move things on to the next page. Okay, so we're going to look at AI-powered audio production. So this segues quite nicely into some of the last points I made. So we're looking at AI audio production. So a key trend that's shaping the industry in 2025 is voice synthesis. So creating realistic, customized AI-generated voices. So we're seeing this an awful lot. Obviously, a great example of that was the AI spot that you listened to earlier, which you voted on. That's just an example of the technology that's currently present and what is actually being utilized as part of the creative production process. We're also seeing the dynamic content customization, which touched on some of the points I made earlier. And also, this is also having a positive impact in the efficiency and flexibility, which basically gives agencies, brands, and publishers the ability to do more for less. So then moving on to the future production process optimization, we're obviously going to see huge optimizations as the technology continues to advance at lightning speed. A lot of the audio production process optimizations that we've seen thus far collaborate with solutions that you'd see in store for retail media, for marketing. A lot of these solutions do integrate with existing technology, which allows you to automate a lot of the audio production that is done. But yeah, in general, the production process optimization, as I mentioned at the top of the call, is a reduction of up to 90% of your overall production time. So you think about the lengthy time you take when it comes to doing your recording in studio. I need to have a voiceover actor for that. When you wanted to create a script, okay, I need somebody to write a script for me. I want to mix and master this all together to make it sound beautiful. This is a lot of time that's taken in the studio. A lot of the times we see this kind of audio production that's put together at a regional level. The great thing about the way technology is being developed now with AI is that you can localize this and also automate it as well. So basically with the production process being reduced, being sped up so quickly, I should say, is that you'll be able to localize and target your customers far more easily. I mean, imagine if you want to target people by town or city, it's impossible for a voice actor to be able to do so many takes to be able to go to that kind of scale. This is the specific examples that AI is already allowing businesses to do and produce, and this is what we're seeing. Okay, again, this touches on a lot of the points I mentioned earlier on the next slide, which is more about responsibility and ethics. So I won't dwell too long on this slide, but this is obviously underpins a lot of the governance that we're seeing across the MENA region. It has been taken very, very seriously. Obviously, there are local data protection laws that are in place, but they are similar to GDPR, as I previously mentioned. The storage of that information does have to be local also as well. Obviously, across the US and Europe, there's a lot more freedom as to where you can have this data stored. But ultimately, what the governments want to do is safeguard and protect the users and the consumers, and ensure that there's always a human element in the assessment of the AI itself, the AI technology itself. So the decision-making process that AI makes, it needs to be verified and regulated by humans at all time, and that's kind of one of the main things that underpins a lot of this technology. Okay, moving on to the next slide. So we're going to now talk about retail media. So I'll spend a little bit longer on this topic. This is probably one of the biggest areas that we're seeing growing right now. Not just across our business, but as you probably all know, across the whole advertising ecosystem. Since the cookie apocalypse happened, obviously the chance of getting hold of good quality data utilizing cookies has been significantly diminished. But there's still the chance to get hold of good data through coupons, as an example. These coupons obviously give information about shopper preferences. That can also be segmented into demographics, and also the time of day that purchases are actually made. So you can actually do more targeted advertising in store based on which products are bought at what time of day and by what kind of person. Obviously, you can't get super personalized in a retail media space because there's such a high volume of traffic of people coming in and out, and it's super diverse as well. But a good way of incorporating promotions in store is utilizing radio. So already we see a lot of brands, retail brands, have in-store radio, and the in-store radio solutions do also incorporate a synthetic voice or the cloned voice of a DJ, which can be utilized for mass production and more localized production as well. Hand in hand with that, in some cases, you see the DJs are utilized for advertising purposes in store. So they'll be basically reading ads, or they'll utilize a synthetic voice where they can get more dynamic with the type of promotions that they want to promote in store. Following on from that as well, there's also weather updates and in-store announcements that have really accelerated the production process as well. So this really goes back to the earlier point I was making is this is where we see a lot of these growth initiatives coming from. It's like, over the last 20 plus years since we've had it in-store radio, there's never been the opportunity for any voiceover artist or production team to be able to do the volume of work required to give localized experiences and improve the shopper experience. This is all happening now because of AI, and this will only get more advanced as the technology progresses. So really underpinning all this is AI transformation, which is the final point I really want to wrap up this entire segment. Is AI transformation is something that everybody needs to take seriously, that particularly in the audio industry. Some of the examples I've shared with you today really gives you an idea of how the industry is going to change, how utilizing some of these trends and adopting some of those principles and understanding some of the regulatory nuances as well across the region can really help you accelerate your business going into 2025 and beyond. One thing we need to realize that this technology is only going to get more advanced. It is a scary concept, I understand that, but it's something that we all need to advance. It's the new revolution, which the quicker we react and adopt as businesses, the stronger we're going to be going forward. So hopefully that you found that useful today. I know there's been a lot of content to go through. Hopefully you enjoyed some of the audio examples we provided as well. But obviously the AI transformation element, utilizing some of these trends, is really going to help push you forward in 2025. So if you want to speak about some of these points in more detail, I'll be sending the AIB event on Tuesday of next week. So it'd be great to see some of the people, some of the members there in person, and also feel free to reach out to me as well. I've got my contact details here.
As I said earlier, we also thank you very much to the members who come forward to share their knowledge with us, and no exception to AudioStack. Thank you for doing that. Really do appreciate it. These sessions are recorded and are available on our YouTube channel, as I mentioned earlier. So please feel free to share that with colleagues and friends that we're not able to make today. And we look forward to seeing you at the next masterclass, which now will be in 2 weeks' time, and then again in April. So very much looking forward to seeing you then. Thanks very much, Adam. Really enjoyed the session.